Hello, everyone. So, today we'll start with our new topic, which is about the transforming, how to work with transformation tool inside Photoshop. So, transformation tool is basically one of the important tools which allows you to change the size of an object, to rotate an object, to skew it, to distort it, change its perspective, and do a lot of different like sort of like things inside. So in order to learn the transformation tool, we will create first of all an empty document, and we will create some shapes inside there, and we will uh, kind of start manipulating it with the transformation tool. Okay. So just as you all know how to create a file, just you have to create a new file from here, or you can go to file option on from the top. So you have two methods. So I will just press create new, and I will choose any size that I have here, or I can put any size from here as well. But I will choose this 1000 by 1000, which I used previously, and I will press create button. And I will have an empty screen here. Now, in order to create something, to manipulate something, we should have some objects or elements on our screen. Now here, what I can do is that I can write a text or draw a shape. At this stage, you will see there is no layer. So if I will go and click on the text icon here and type something, a new text layer is created. Okay, so I will press here with my T icon, and I will just press this button. So there is this text created. Now I can move this text with my moving tool from here. I can move it wherever I want, and you can see that I have this text layer created. Now this says lorem ipsum by default. You can change this to anything that you want. Maybe I can write here Adobe Photoshop, okay, and then press the check mark and then move it. Now I wanted to create a shape. I will change a color to something else, maybe yellow. Take any shape. Maybe I'll take a shape of a rectangle, or I'll keep it ellipse. And you will notice that I'm not able to create anything right now, because to create a shape, you need a layer. For text, it's automatically created when you click on the screen. But for the image, or like for the shape, you must create a new layer. Now, when you're creating a shape, you have several options here, which we will discuss in our later classes. But for now, I will be keeping it pixels. So whatever shape I will create, Photoshop will count it as an image. It will count it as an image. So that's how. So that's why I will choose pixels. Now I will have to create a new layer. Maybe I can rename it. Call this shape. And if I want to create a circle, I have to press Shift on my keyboard and create a circle here, just like this. And now you can see the circle is on this new layer, and I can go to my moving tool or press V on my keyboard. V is the shortcut, V for victory. So if I press V on my keyboard, click here, I can freely move wherever I want it. And if I want to move the text, I can go to text layer and move wherever I want. Shape. Okay. Now to move a text, I have to go to the text layer. To move a shape, I have to go to the shape layer. So sometimes it is, and over time you have to go to the text layer, move it, then you have to go to the other layer, move it. So it takes some time, sometimes to do that. You have to go back and forth. To avoid that, there is an option in the move tool, which is auto select. When you click this auto select, so whatever element you will click, it will automatically select it here. And then you can move it. Like I can move the text here. If I click it here, so you can notice this layer is selected. I can so this will be like this saves your time. But sometimes it's tricky because maybe you might click on something which you don't want to move. So you have to be careful. Now I don't have a lot of things here, so for me, I will keep it checked. Otherwise, if you have a lot of elements on your screen, so then you might face a little issue. So in that case, you can turn it off. Now let's see how we can do the transformation. The transformation tools you might find in Edit option on the top here. There are several transformation tools. One of the transformation tool here is known as the free transform, which we will use, which we will now learn. The first one here, the free transform. So if I will click on the free transform tool, it will give me a bounding box on my object, whether it is a shape or whether it is a layer. Now, suppose if I click on the Adobe Photoshop text layer, what happens, that free transform option is gone. It's not there anymore. So that means I have to go back here and select the free transform again for this layer or for this layer, whatever layer you want. The shortcut for the free transform is Control T on your keyboard. T for transform, Control T. So suppose I want to go back here, I can click it here, press Control T, so I can do that. But if I don't want to do any changes or I'm done with the changes, I can uh, cancel it, or I can commit it, or you can say to agree with whatever I have done so far. Okay, in this case, I have not done anything, so I can press any one of these, and pressing any one of these will not make any changes because nothing was done. And if I will go click here in the Photoshop text layer, if I'm here, and then if I press Control T, so it will be transforming this free transform. Now, why this is called free transform? The reason this is called free transform because you can do a lot of different things inside this transformation tool. First thing we will see is the scaling. You can make any object bigger or smaller with this free transform tool. For example, if I want to make this bigger or if I want to make this smaller, I can go to the corners and you will, or on these edges, so you will see this sort of an arrow. Now what this arrow tells us, if I will go to this part, it will reduce the size of it. Okay. If I'm changing the size from this corner, it will change from here to here. Okay. Like if you can see, it is going from here to here. If I will change it from this corner, it will go from here to here in a sort of a diagonal position. Okay. And from similarly from here. So it always goes in a diagonal direction. Now, these are the corners. Now, what's about the edges? If I want to change the size of the edge, it will be from the top to bottom direction. Okay, it will go from top to bottom. Or if I'm changing from here, so it will be from bottom to top. And similarly, if I'm doing same thing on the sides, it will be from left to right or right to left. Now you will notice that when I'm changing the size, it's changing normally the height and the width all together. Uniformly, it's changing the size. And if you're using a Photoshop 2020 or 2021 version, and when you change the size, it's uniformly changes. But in older version, to uniformly change any size, you have to press Shift on your keyboard. Okay, otherwise it will be non-uniform. And if you want to change like the size non-uniformly in version 2020 or 2021, so you have to press Shift. So it's opposite. What is the non-uniform size? Suppose if I will press Shift on my keyboard, then change the size, from any one of these corners or edges, it will change like this. The height and width are individually changing. So here, if I'm doing, only width is changing, height is not changing. So it is squeezing my text, which in some cases might work, but in most cases, this will not look good. Okay. Same, like more like similarly, if I will do from the top, it will do something like this. It will stretch it. Okay. And if I will do from here, it can go just like this. Okay. So I don't want to do that. So what I will do, I will just press Control Z. All the changes applied till so far. And I want to change it using my uh like changing without the shift key, so it will be uniform size change. Notice when you are changing from corners, it goes in a diagonal direction, and if you're changing from the uh, edges, it is the opposite direction of the edge you are selecting. But what if you want to change the size from the center? Okay, if you're changing the size from the center, then you have to press Alt on your keyboard, Alt on your keyboard, or if you're using Mac, then Option on your keyboard. And now if I will change the size, it will be from the center. Okay. So that's how it will work basically here. Okay. So this is all about changing the size with the free transform tool. Now, free transform tool, as I told you before, is a tool that allow you to perform many uh, like manipulations, many transformations. Not only scale, but you can also rotate. For rotation, for scaling, you have to be on the corners or on the edges. But for rotation, you have to be a little far away. As soon you will see my mouse will go far away, my cursor changes to something like this, like a swivel, like a rotation. Now, if you will notice, if I'm moving more, it goes something like this or something like that. So that means if I have this sort of a cursor and I click on my screen and start dragging, you will notice that it is rotating my object. Okay, my like whatever I have selected. If I press Control Z, it will undo that. Same thing I can do from here. Same thing I can do from here. From any corner or any edge, you can do that. The result will be same, and it will be always from the center. Okay, so that's one thing about it. Now, another thing with the rotation is that if I'm rotating it, notice there are some numbers appearing while I'm rotating. Now, this number is indicating the angle of how I'm rotating. Now, if I want to rotate it something like this, so it have to be 90 degrees, but I'm trying to bring the number to the 19 degrees and like to the 90 degrees, but it's very hard. It always go to 89.2 or 90.1 or 90 or 91. So it's quite hard for me to do that. Now, in order to bring 90 degrees, it should be 100% 90 degrees. So if you want like 90 degrees, 60 degrees, 65 degrees, 45 degrees, so there is a way to do that. And that is with the shift key on your keyboard. If you press shift key on your keyboard, without shift key, the angle is changing with like a degree of 0.1. Okay, so while I'm like whenever I'm moving it, it is adding 0.1 to my uh, rotation. But if I will press shift and rotate, it will be 5 degrees. Every 5 degrees it will move. So just notice if I'll press shift key on my keyboard and rotate, so 15, minus 15, minus 30, minus 45, minus 60, minus 75, minus 90. So this is 100% 90 degrees. So it is 100% vertical. So in order to make sure you want 100% like results, so shift key is always better. Okay. So I always use Shift key. Sometimes I use without Shift key, but most of the time I use Shift key to rotate items because it will be 100% fine. So this is one way of doing this. So Shift key, rotate the way you want it. Okay. Maybe I wanted this and I agree with this. So I will press this button and maybe I can move this layer or on the top of the shape layer and I can make like put it here and it will sort of make a good like sort of a design for something like a poster or something. Okay. And if I want to rotate it back, Control T on my keyboard, press Shift key, and again I will rotate it in this. And I can put it wherever I want. And once I'm done, I can press this button or enter on my keyboard or double click this. So anything you can do. So it will do the same thing. Okay. So that's the rotation with the free transform. Now free transform can do more other things. If I press Control T again, and if I go to the edge over here, I can press like a control key on my keyboard, and what happens, you can see that the sign changes from rotation or from scaling to something like a two-headed arrow, left and right. So what is this? This is basically skew. So if you go onto any edge, okay, and like suppose here or here and press control on your keyboard, okay, you will get skew. Now, what does the skew actually do? Skew will allow me to like slant it in this way. Okay, maybe I can make it more italic or move it around like that or like this or anything, just like that. So that's what the skew will do. I can do from any side, like from here also I can do. It can go here, here, here. It can create something like that. Okay, very interesting shapes and very like fine looking things you can do with it. So that's the like magic of the skew. So you can do multiple skews. You can do rotation, then you can do scaling. So many things you can do with that. So that's how you can do the skew from the edges, but you have to press Control on your keyboard in order to do skew. So that's one another thing that you can do with the help of free transform. Scaling, rotation, skew. Apart from skew, you can also uh, deform your shape. To deform your shape, you have to press uh, like an Alt key or like your like sort of a uh, like control on your keyboard, but instead of going to the edges, okay, just like this edge, instead of going to the edges, you can go to the corner like this, these areas, this white areas, okay. So what it will do, it will allow you to deform like your shape, okay. So that's also what you can do with the help of this transform. Okay, I hope this part is also clear. And you can deform, like deform or distort, whatever like you say. And that's all you can do with this. Okay, so let me undo that. So I hope you have understood about the free transform. Now, free transform also have some option on the top. Now here is the maintain aspect ratio. Means like if I change the size, the aspect ratio, the width and the height goes all together. Okay, but if I press shift, so this is not maintaining any aspect ratio. This is not uniform. Also, if you don't want to press shift key on your keyboard, because all the time you have to press shift key. What if your keyboard's shift key is not working? So maybe in that case, you can turn this off. And then when you do, without a shift key, you can do your non-uniform scaling. Okay. But I usually keep it on. Okay. Also, you can change the size from here as well. Okay, this is width and this is height. If I can change the width and height from here because it is linked. So both of them will be changed. Both of them, or like both of these, like width or height, will change together. But if it is not linked, if it is not linked as a aspect ratio, so what will happen is that it will go non-uniformly. For example, let me undo this. Yeah, for example, if I uncheck this, now if I will change, only width will change. Okay, so that's happens when like this is not checked. But I will keep it checked because I want the width and height, both of them, to change together. Now here we have rotation. You can also, okay, before going to the rotation, I have here position also. So I can move it wherever I want. This is X position, means like horizontal position. This is Y position, means like vertical position. So this is also, you can do that. And then you will notice there is a like relative positioning for reference point. Relative positioning means that they both will become 0 so that you know where you are moving. Right now, they're not 0. They are showing us the exact location of our object. Now, what is the exact like location? If I will go to window, okay, and turn on the rulers from here. So there is a ruler option. Okay, where it is gone? There is it's somewhere here, but I cannot see where it is. Okay, yeah, in view. Sorry. If you will go to view, you will see rulers. If you will turn on the ruler, you will see there is a location here. So the location of this part is somewhere between this and here, okay, which is 503 uh, something on the top, like on the x-axis, and on the y, which is this, is something around this much, which is 787. So that is its current uh, like location. But if you don't want to see the current location, you want this current location to be 0, because right now it's quite sometimes it is very confusing because how much you added, how much you removed, you have to do a math. But if you don't want, just click it here, they both will become 0. If you're moving, you exactly know how much you have moved. 70 pixels I have moved. Okay. So that also you can do here. Sometimes I keep it open, sometimes I don't. Okay. In this case, I will not keep it open. Now, next here, you have the rotation. So I can rotate from here as well. Okay. Also, I can write here the value like 90. Also, in these places, you can also write the values, which is a good thing. I can write here the value like 90 degrees. It will go directly over 90. If I will type here 0, it will go back to normal. Now, this is the skew. Okay. The skew that I was showing you, you can do with the help of the uh, control key on your keyboard. Okay. So that's what you can do. I will keep it 0, normal. This is vertical skew and this is horizontal. H for horizontal, V for vertical. Okay. Now, apart from that, we have here interpolation. Interpolation is basically the method of how you want to change it. So don't worry about this. Always keep it bicubic. Okay. Also, you can make it smoother too, bicubic smoother for better result. But I keep it usually bicubic. Now, next here is the warp, like a toggle button. We are in a free transform mode right now. You can see that we are in a free transform mode. But if you want to switch from free transform to warp mode, because warp mode is also a mode which we will like discuss in this class later on. If I press this, now we are in a warp mode. So you can see all this free transform stuff is gone. Okay, it's all anything that we have here is basically a warp tool. So we'll discuss this later on, but I want to stick to free transform. So I hope free transform is clear with you all. Now, same thing that I have performed on this text, I can do on the shape also. I can press Control T on the shape. I can rotate because this is circle, so you might not see the result here because circle is like around itself. I can scale it up, okay, with or with the with Shift key, okay, or without Shift key, up to you. And also I can skew it, or like a more like distort it from corners, okay, or skew it from edges, okay. So that I can also do. So if you do, if you're on corners, you can distort it just like the way I'm doing. But if you are on the edges, you can skew it just like that. So anything that you can do with the text, you can do same with the on the shape using the free transform. Free transform. Now, apart from free transform tool, we have another tool which is known, which are mathematical functions. Okay. Now, mathematical functions you can find here as well, okay? And you can find it in the edit also. Now, in the edit, where they are in transform option, okay? So transform option, you will see there are different sort of like mathematical functions. Now, what are those here? We have vertical, flip horizontal. Now, if I will press flip vertical on the text, let's go to the text here. Edit, free transform, flip horizontal. So you will see it is now mirrored because it is flipped horizontally. And I can change it, press Control Z, transform, and also you can do flip vertical. So it will be upside down, okay? Like mirrored, but upside down. So this is the flip option here. Now, apart from flip, you have some other options here. You have rotate, you have scale, and that you have skew. Same thing that we were doing inside the free transform. Okay, but you will notice the distort and perspective is not active. The distort and perspective, why it is not active? Because you cannot perform these two on the text. You can only apply these two on a shape. Now, suppose if I will click on scale, this will not rotate like free transform or skew. You can see that I'm going on the corners anywhere and it's not giving me that rotation or skew option. But only thing I can do here is normally scale it up or down. So normal scale I can do. If I will go to transform, rotate, I can only do rotation. I cannot do scaling now. So I'm only doing rotation here. Similarly, if I will go to edit and then transform and then use skew, so you can see that I cannot scale it. I can only skew it. Okay. Now let's go to the shape, edit, transform. And now you can see distort and perspective both are active for the shape because for the it's not a text, it's a shape. But what if I want the same distort and skew, or like sorry, distort and perspective to be applied on the text? What I have to do with the text to make it available for these two options? You have to convert this text into an image. To convert a text into an image, you have to use like rasterization operation over here. You have to apply rasterization on it. So our rasterization will convert this into a text. But what we will lose? We will lose the editing part. Right now, if I want to edit, I can just simply click on this T icon, double click it on this T icon, and I can change my text anytime I want. But once this will become an image, I won't be able to change the text. No longer it will allow me to change the text. So for the safe side, I can do what? I can duplicate this. I can make a copy of this by pressing Control and J on my keyboard. It will duplicate. Once it is duplicated, I can hide the duplicated one so that for the safe side, I will keep it, but I will not work on it. I will just hide it. I don't want to see it. Then I will go to the original one and right click on it. When I will right click on it, I will get all these options. The options that I'm looking for is rasterize type. Now what it will do is that it will change or convert this into an image, like a rasterization. It will apply on it, which will convert this into an image. So now you will see that it's no longer text. See, text icon have this kind of like icon here. I don't have it. I have similar like similar icon here that I have it on shape. It's showing me a smaller preview of whatever it is here. Now it is an image. Now I can change it. I cannot perform any editing on it because it's changed. I can do. I cannot even change the color now. Okay. Now I have to go to the edit. I can change the color, but I have to apply the layer style. Okay. So, but we'll check that later on. Like last class when we were working on layer styles, there we like learn how to change, and there is a one layer style which is colorize. That I can use it to change the color, but it's not same as you change the color regularly for anything. Now I can go to edit. Inside edit, I can go to transform, and inside transform, now you can see this distort and perspective is active. Now what is distort? Let's see. If I click on the distort, I can easily now distort it in any way I want. Okay, to make it look 3D-ish, or maybe look cartoonish or something like that. Okay, so I can do this kind of effect with text. And if I go edit, transform, and perspective, I can make a perspective. Okay, the difference between perspective is that it only changes one side's like height, top from either from like vertically or horizontally. But in distort, you can move the corners anywhere you want. But here you cannot do that. It's either horizontal or it's either vertical. Okay, it's like vertical will be like this, horizontal like sorry, horizontal will be like this, vertical will be like. Okay, so that's like the difference here. But in distort, you can use the corner and you can change any way you want. Now warp. Warp can be applied to anything. Either, even if it is a text, I can apply on the text. So now what is warp? Let's see what warp is. Okay. Now what warp will do over here is that if I will click on warp, it will give me a lot of corners, a lot of points over here. Okay. Now when it will give me the, let me zoom in here so you can see what we're doing. So what are these? These are some points that are made between grid. At this stage, I just turn on the warp, but I cannot see the grid. In order to see the grid, you have to turn on the grid. And when you choose warp, you will see the grid option on the top. So only this option will available when you will select the warp option and you are applying the warp on any of the layers. So if I can go over here, I have custom, okay, which is which you can use your own. Okay, so let's see what we have here. We have by default, the one which is selected. We have 3 by 3, and you can see that I have a grid here. 3 by 3 means one, like a 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 3 columns, 3 rows. Okay, 4 by 4, 4 columns, 4 rows. 5 by 5, and you can use your own by going to custom, or you can keep it default because like default there is no grid here. Okay, so I can draw my own grid just like this. Okay, you can see here I can draw my own grid. the way I want. Like suppose I want uh create a grid, so I can press here, and then maybe I want something here uh in this area or this area. I can make my own, but I don't want to do that right now. I will do it later once you will understand how this works. Now, next to grid, there is warp already made warp, pre-made warps. So this we will go on later also. Now, first, let's see what are these circles. What are these like tiny circles over here? These are basically envelopes. If I go to this corner and move this envelope, you will see that the image is distorting, but in a curved form. And that curve is created between my point number 1 and point number 2. And these circles, let me undo that. And these circles that you are looking at right now, what are these? These are the envelope handles. For example, if I will move this up, if you feel that I need more curve, so there is one handle here and there is one handle here. If I will go to this handle and move it just like this, or here, or back, or anywhere you want, you can control this curve. So this curve is basically limited to this side. This curve, that this handle is limited to this side. So I can change this and it will change from here. Okay. So you can work in both ways. And when you're satisfied, that's all. Here you have, which is for this side. Okay. So maybe I can change here. And there is one here, tiny one. Also you can do. You can balance it out. Okay. And you can move this one as well. So you can create your own, like can convert this shape into a very interesting, like you can convert this text image into a very interesting layout, and that's how you can change it. Okay. But at this stage I don't want to change it right now to this, so I will just press this reset button. It will go back to normal. Now let's see how grids help us. If I will make a grid of 3 columns and 3 rows and then start to warp it, you will notice that it is only warping this section. These rows and these columns are creating different sections. And each section will work on its own, will change the which will warp the element on its own. Okay. So if I'm doing any kind of changes, so you can see it is limited to this section. Okay. And if I will do the changes to this, so you can see that it is limited to this section. However, the handles are common like between these two, so might change a little bit around the area. But you can also break that. How? If you will press Alt on your keyboard and then try to, sorry, yeah, it is connected, so I think I cannot, but you can, change later on just like that to move it around to bring it at that back. Like suppose if I will move it down, if it doesn't work, so you can put this one here or anything, because kind of they are mixed together. But the long story short, you have sections now, and you can work on your warp section by section. Okay, let me reset this. Now you can make your own sections too. This is what this split is all about. So if I will click on this one, the first option, which is more uniformly, I can make a section here by clicking here. Okay. Then I can make a vertical section and another one here. Okay. Also, you can make horizontal section, like somewhere here or here. one here, and one I can do here. Now, what this will help me? This will help me to individually balance. Like I can add two more here. Like I will take this vertical, I will add one here. I will take this vertical again and I will add it here. So this will make it more stricted. So if I will move this, so you can see that this part will not move that much. I can reshape only O and keep the others intact. So this is how you can change individual parts, but you have to make sections. If you will make good sections, you will get good results. So totally up to you. So you can move the corners, you can move the handle the way you want them. It's totally up to you how you want the result to. All dependent. All de- it depends on the your result. And if you are satisfied, you can just press. But I will undo. So one more thing with the warp is that there are some ready-made warps over here. I will go to the warps and I will choose any one of the warp, like suppose arc. So it will convert my text into an arc here, just like that. Okay. Now you can go to this white box here and you can move this warp up or down and it will change the direction of your warp. Okay. Check this and zoom a little bit out so you can see more clearly the result. Okay. So I can use upper arc or lower arc also, like suppose lower arc, and I can change this to this. Okay. And also I can add these and then, perform my own changes also. I can customize that also. That also I can. So that's the good thing about the like the warp. So there are a couple of warps you can check them and see how you get the result, how your result are, and can make interesting uh, typefaces, logo types with this warp. A warp can be also applied on shapes. Like if I go to this shape, I can go to transform, warp, and I can do a warp and reshape it the way I want it. I can use existing warps too, okay? Like I used for the text. Or you can have, like you can add more grids to it in order to get a better result. And then you can move around, reshape it, or whatever you want with it, like your. Okay. Now, right now we don't have gradient, and we have not studied about the gradient yet. But warps works really fine with the gradient. So if you have gradient on any one of the of your object and your shape and your like gradient layer style and your gradient layer style is rasterized, it will give you a very good result. Okay, that we will do later on when we will move to the like gradient. Okay, now sometimes you work on a tablet. Okay, now when you're working on tablet or when you are working on a touch screen and you are painting, so you might want to rotate at some point your screen. Okay, so for example, I have this paint like I'm doing painting, for example, and I have a new layer. Let's make a new layer. Use a color, and I'm doing painting. Now I want to paint, but I want to rotate my screen so I can paint the way I want. So to do that, you have like a canvas rotation tool. Okay. Now the canvas rotation tool will only rotate your like canvas. It will not rotate the your uh, like image. Okay. So your canvas rotation tool is, think, I think it is in the new version they moved it to somewhere. Okay, let me check where it is. I think it is removed from here, so I have to add it from toolbar. If I will go to the toolbar here and edit toolbar, because some of these are not all the tools, some of them are missing. To add them, you have to go to these three dots, edit toolbar, so you will get some extra. So some of them are added, some of them are not added. So there is a tool here for canvas rotation. So let's see if there is here. Oh, why it's not showing all of it? I'm not sure why I cannot see that. Okay. Thing is like it allows you to move. There is a shortcut for the canvas rotation. I cannot find it here, but if you press R on your keyboard, you will get that. Just see. If I press R on my keyboard, so I will get this sort of an icon. If you will just notice on my screen, it is this sort of an icon. And what it will do is that it will allow me to rotate the uh my like canvas. It's not rotating the image, it is rotating the canvas, like the document itself. And when I'm done, I can start painting. Okay. And when I want to rotate it, I can more, then start painting more area. So I don't have to paint it all the way just like that. I can just simple press R, keep on rotating, and then keep on painting this. R, keep on rotating, keep on painting. So this is what the canvas rotation tool is. I don't know where it is from here, but as I knew the shortcut, so I can work with the shortcut. And I can go back here. Also, you can press Shift key on your keyboard while rotating, so you can come back to where you were before. And from here also you can work with. But if you have multiple canvases, you can rotate all of them at once if by clicking here. And if you want to reset this, just press reset button. It will go back to where it was. So suppose if I'm here, if I press reset view, go back to where it. Simply to go out of it, you can press any one of these two. Suppose I can just press a V on my keyboard. V is for the moving tool. So I will go back to moving tool and I'm out of it. So that's what this canvas rotation tool is used for. So I hope this transformation is basically like clear with you all. Let's uh, let me do one thing here. Let me undo this all and just show you a practical use of uh, like perspective and distort. For example, let's like hide this shape and make a new and I will make a new shape here. I will make one with a like a yellow, uh, like a what you call rectangle, and then I will make another one, but this time I will make it with a little slight darkish uh, yellow color, like a mustard sort of. And I will make that in a new layer. So I will have a two different layers here now, like this. Okay. So this is light darker, light brighter. So what I will do here is that I will press Control T on my keyboard, make it little smaller with the Shift key from the width. Now I will go to each one of them one by one, like suppose this one, the brighter one, change its perspective to something like this, apply. And then I will go here to this one. Now I want to apply the same level, or you can say with the same amount of perspective on this darker version of my rectangle tool. So I have to go here, I have to perspective, and I have to eyeball till it gets exactly the same. Or I can press this again button. What it will do is that the last option that the last like tool you used, it will apply that with the same amount you have applied. So if I press again, it will do the same thing here. Okay, but it will do to the others like this, like to the same side. So what you can do, you can go to Edit, Transform, Flip Horizontal, just like that. Okay, but I don't want to scale it up, so let's do it manually. That's more better. Okay, so I will go to perspective again, and I can use this. Also, I can press Control T to scale it with the Shift key. It will. Now I can press V on my keyboard, move it to this side till it joins together. Now these two rectangles are not part of each other. They are separate objects. So what I can do, I can, with the Control key, I can select these two layers, go to layer, merge layers. This is what we learned in the last class, if you remember. Now they both are merged. Now I have this Adobe Photoshop text here. Now I want to make a duplicate copy of this. To make a duplicate of like copy of any layer, either you can duplicate the layer by pressing Control J on your keyboard, or you can go to Edit, Copy, and then Paste. Another shortcut is if you will press Alt on your keyboard and then move, what it will do, it will give you this cursor and it will make a copy of it and then start moving it. So you have two different, you have few different ways to copy something, either Control J or Control C, Control V, or Alt key and move it. I find Alt and moving quite useful because it's more faster. It's the fastest way of doing it. Now, for now, I will put this one here, and I will put this one somewhere here. I want this to be applied over here with the same perspective. So what I can do, I can go to the Edit, Transform, and first of all, I want to go to Scale, okay, and scale it with the Shift, so it will squeeze it like this, like this. Now, size is okay, size is good, but I want to go to the Edit, Transform, and Perspective to make the perspective actually match with this wall or whatever it is, whatever you want to call this, like that, and press this. Done. And same thing, let me changes. Same thing I will do with this one. Okay. And as you can see, this wall is darker. The color of this text should be darker too. But as you know, what we did, we converted this to a rasterized layer means if we convert it into a shape, into an image. So it's not a text any longer, so I cannot change it. Only thing I can do here is that double click it here to get the layer style and go to the color overlay. And then from here, I can choose a darker red, darker than this. Okay, okay. Now I have the effect over here. In some cases, when you like when you change your image size, when you distort it, when you apply free transformation, so it will apply on the element, but it will not apply the transformation on the style. For example, if I double click it here and add some drop shadow to it, okay, this sort of a drop shadow and make it a little bit spreadier, you can see. If I will reduce the size of it, you will notice if I will press check mark, it reduced the size of the element, but it didn't reduce the size of the style. To avoid that, what you can do, let me remove this right now, or keep it. Just wanted to show you. Right click. Right click here on the layer. If you remember, we used last time rasterize layer itself, but now we can use rasterize layer style. Now the layer style is also became the like an image. Now if I will reduce the size of it, you will notice the size of the uh, layer style is also changing. Okay, so that's a good like exercise, a good step to do. So I will after like applying the layer style, and if I want to change the style, usually I always go here and rasterize it if I'm changing the size. Otherwise, I keep it. Now I can go and scaling part here, press shift, scale it to match with the width of this wall. Then I can go transform perspective, and I can, oops, I think I do for perspective. And so this is the practical use of, you can say, perspective. Also, I can do what? I can also skew it to make it look more nicer, like that. Also, the other part. So this is the practical use of the perspective tools and scaling tool, transformation tool. And you can convert anything from 2D to 3D just by giving an illusion of it being a 3D. It's not in reality, it's 3D. You're constructing that reality and giving an illusion that it looks like 3D. But basically, it's 2D shapes, fragments joined together and creating a 3D effect. So I hope you have understood about the transformation tool here, how to work with transformation tool inside Photoshop. Next class, we will work on some more other tools, basically like color correction, like the more like a color correction tools to correct any color of any image, create a like levels, create a like brightness, contrast, tonal exposure, and those kind of things. Okay, so we'll now move to Blackboard, and I will end this. So if you have any question before I end the stream, please let me know. If everything is uh, clear, so I'll move to the Blackboard. So just let me know if there is any question right now. Okay, so if there is no questions, so let's move to Blackboard.